I just gotten married that day, and I was so excited I stuck my body out through the sunroof, cheering and waving. As we approached an underpass, my husband Jack yelled at me to sit down, but I was so caught up in the joy of being newlyweds that I didn't hear him. When the car was about to go through, Jack desperately tried to pull me down, but all he grabbed was my wedding dress. A man named David on the bridge had seen the danger and pulled me up just before I would have hit the concrete. Once I realized what had just happened, I started to thank David, but then Jack saw me lying on top of David and immediately slammed him against the railing. I rushed over to stop Jack, but he'd lost all reason in his anger and shoved me to the ground. My hand scraped hard against the pavement and started bleeding. David pointed at me on the ground, then punched Jack square in the jaw. After Jack was knocked out cold, David rifled through his pockets, took his car keys and wallet, and then took me too. That's when it hit me. I'd been kidnapped. David drove me to a secluded spot deep in the woods and tied my hands with rope. I begged him for food and water, but he ignored me to make sure I couldn't escape. He told me Jack would have to pay $100,000 in ransom before he'd let me go. The moment David thought he had me completely secured, I waited until he wasn't looking, slipped out of the rope, and looped it around his ankle. David went crashing to the ground. I looked down at him, deliberately tossed the rope onto his body, and ran back to the car to drive away. But I searched every corner of that vehicle and couldn't find the keys anywhere. That's when David smugly held up the car keys from outside. I realized he'd been playing me the whole time. David suddenly proposed a deal. If I promised not to run, he wouldn't tie me up. I reluctantly agreed, but I hadn't eaten all day. David said he could handle that, though I didn't believe him. Then he opened the trunk, which was packed with food and drinks. In all the chaos, I'd completely forgotten these were the supplies meant for my wedding reception. Just as I was about to dig in, David told me to come with him somewhere first. After I changed clothes, I followed David down to the riverbank. He built a fire like we were camping, and we started eating caviar. I said if someone gave me barbecue ribs right now, I'd trade anything for them. David said it'd be even better with some honey mustard. I told him he was making my mouth water. Then David performed a magic trick for me. Turns out his arm had just gotten sunburned from the fire. I almost forgot I'd been kidnapped. I ended up telling David I'd only married Jack to get a city residence permit. David asked why Jack hadn't come looking for me yet. To break the awkward tension, I joked that my kiss could make any man lose all resistance. David didn't believe me, so I leaned in and kissed him. He melted instantly. And while he was distracted, I quietly slipped the keys out of his pocket.